Our presentation is titled Testosterone versus Intellect. We will be comparing how masculinity is shown between two TV shows, Suits and 24.
So, our aims are to show how man can appear masculine through both language and action. We will do this by analyzing small physical gestures, such as the body language, the way they act, and what they reveal about male psychology. And we'll also be closely comparing dialogue between the two TV shows, and in this case we'll be comparing an interrogation scene dialogue from 24 and a meeting from Suits. And one thing that we'll be looking at is the audience for the shows, how they compare, and also how masculinity is portrayed by both characters.
We also have two learning objectives, the major one being how language affirms identity, how the different ways the characters both speak and show their body language is reflected in their personalities, and also the way in which jargon is used. Suits, there will be legal jargon, and 24 more action, crime fighting jargon. So there are two ways in which masculinity can be shown, verbally and non-verbally, mostly. Suits takes the verbal side of masculinity. Harvey Specter, the main character, shows his masculinity through his smooth speaking ways and his vocabulary.
While in 24, where Jack Bauer is the main character, we see things a little differently as he uses his body language through mostly physical action to portray his masculinity. Although he does do a little bit of speaking, but as we'll see, it's rather different to how Harvey Specter talks.
Masculinity is shown in Suits through Harvey Specter, mostly through verbal language. Harvey uses his words and body language to assert himself as masculine, rather than physical action, although he does have two scenes using physical action, which we'll briefly look at. And Harvey clearly uses legal jargon, as I previously mentioned, since the show is based in a law firm in New York City.
So Jack Bauer Contrarily, he's more of an olden days man. He's more the traditional definition of masculinity that we know. He fits the description of the classic man, not the new generation, which is Harvey Specter. He's loud, adrenaline-filled, always on the edge. We'll see him running around everywhere, shooting people and killing people. He does that, yeah. Although he's tough and rugged, he's also smart and uses it to his advantage. As I've mentioned before, and I'll mention again, it's different.
Okay, this is a video of a meeting between Harvey and two clients, which I'll show.
We have three choices here. We move forward with the suit, lose-lose. We can give you your money back plus the $500,000, or you and I.
Technical difficulty.
Well, the last part he says, or you and I can play poker for it, and you're not getting your money back, and then he gives him the middle finger. So in this scene, we can see how Harvey uses both language and body language to assert his masculinity. Through both of these, we see how confident he is. The way he speaks is to patronize the other two people. He lays out the options to them like a child. He's saying you can do this, this, or this. He's clearly in command, as it's not a dialogue, but rather a monologue. He's laying out the options, not giving the other party any say. The way he slightly nods his head as he gives the options is sort of mocking the other two in a taunting way. When Harvey says we have three choices here, he clearly shows them their options in a confident way and doesn't give them any chance to contribute to the conversation. And a part we missed, when he says you and I can play poker for it, they zoom into his face and his eyes are in a laser-like stare. This shows how he's very confident, he's focused, and concentrated. He has a killer instinct. He's known as the best closer in New York City to close deals. Also, which we didn't see, he says, and you're not getting your money back. Right after he says this, his mouth clenches and his jaw tightens. It again shows how serious and concentrated he is and how he shows his masculinity. This is again shown when he nods his head when he says you're not getting your money back, again to show the confidence. Harvey's body language also tells us a bit about male psychology. It tells us that men are always trying to appear superior to other men, often in insulting and sneaky ways through language. Men wanting to be superior has always been a part of male psychology, but nowadays it's done more through verbal and body language than physical action. Subtle body language and words can make men appear superior, and that is one of their main goals.
So here we're going to see a video of Jack Bauer shooting and killing someone. Another short video, not really much. Basically, Jack Bauer has a bit of a disagreement with the guy who's getting killed. His name's Chappelle. I'm not exactly too sure exactly what happened, but something happened, obviously. So this example focuses more on the unspoken, the body language type, rather than the spoken language. As we can see, just by his stance, it's very dominating, especially because, well, he's dead on the floor, on the ground, and he's standing up in a very assertive position, very alpha male-like, with his gun and his feet apart, which shows he's like the predator, while Mr. Chappelle here, he's the prey. However, another thing we see is a slight hesitation as he takes the shot. You might have seen he goes, and then he shoots him. This shows that he has always a macho man and a cold-blooded killer. He does have principles.
Right, now you've got it full screen. You can show it us again. Can you show it us at that size?
Video? No, that's just a screenshot.
Okay, no worries, yeah. That's fine. You've explained it well.
Alright, so that's...
Okay, this is a quote from the very first Suits episode. It's the first ever time we see Harvey Specter interacting with a client, and right away we see how he is. The first sentence he says is, "I'd say the ball's in your court, but the truth is your balls are in my fist." The way he says this, he starts it off with something that would be positive for the other man. It's like dangling out a sweet for him, and then pulls it right away when he says, "Your balls are in my fist," which shows how he's in command. Clearly, the word balls being used has direct relation to masculinity, and threatening men's masculinity is a way to get under their skin and a way to appear dominant. Harvey using profane language in this scene makes him seem more dominant and makes it harder for the other man to come back with a valid point. Profane language is something that is associated with men today sometimes. Harvey also backs up his first comment by saying, "I'm comfortable enough with my manhood to put it out there." That clearly shows that Harvey is comfortable with his masculinity. And again, he shows his assertiveness with this last line, "Get your ass in there and close the goddamn deal." Again, this is turned into a monologue instead of a dialogue. This is what Harvey tends to do to show he's in command and to get what he wants. The way Harvey speaks affirms his identity. He speaks very clearly, well-informed, strategically, sometimes insultingly, and in a way which makes him seem superior. All of these traits in his words are also shown in his personality. He's very arrogant, cocky, but well-spoken, and he uses language to assert himself as the superior in every situation he's faced with.
Here we'll see a different side of Jack, where he talks. He doesn't do much of it. This is quite long, so I'm going to skip it. Apologize for the volume.
keep this simple. If you want to stop the bomb, I need to be on a plane to Visalia now.
Did you pick Visalia for a reason? Or would anywhere outside the blast zone work?
My contact is in Visalia.
Who is it?
The only person who can tell us where the bomb is. I'm not gonna tell you who it is till we get there.
Fine. Then you can sit here and wait for the blast to hit.
Stop wasting time. I'm sitting here looking at the president's signature.
I'm here. He's not. And I'm not gonna make a move until I believe you're credible.
I'll only get the pardon if I stop the bomb. Why wouldn't I do everything I can?
Because you're worse than a traitor, Nina. You don't even have a cause. You don't believe in anything. But you would sell anyone and everything out to the highest bidder. So stop wasting my time! Give me a name!
Don't even bother, Jack. If you lay a hand on me, you'll be taken off the case. You're just gonna have to follow my lead.
You were gonna tell me everything I want to know, but I swear to God, I won't hurt you before I kill you, and no one will stop me. You understand me, huh?
It's interesting, this scene, because actually, normally Jack, he uses guns to express himself, shooting people, but here, he doesn't, he uses his fist. We can compare apples to apples. We can compare Harvey's very sophisticated, very well thought out, witty speech to his very, how would you say, primitive, loud, shouty, very Jack. But it's also very smart, not in the conventional way, because although we don't see directly, he's using techniques to attempt to get Nina, which is the girl, the woman that he's interrogating, to tell her to speak. He intimidates her, masculine, threatens her, masculine, and actually appeals to her in saying that I'll stay here and we'll both get blown to bits, which actually is smart and therefore masculine. Then, looking at body language, when Nina's provoking him, when she's saying her various bits to try to get him to explode, he looks like he's ready to kill anything. He's balled up like an animal and ready to pounce. And then he does. Flips the table, runs towards her, grabs her, chokes her. And he has a complete disregard for authority because, well, when the boss comes in and tries to stop him, he's still choking her. And then stops. And that shows masculinity in Jack. It shows masculinity in both words and action. Words, but not Harvey words. Loud words, Jack words, very shouting words, which I can't really say now. Right. Yeah.
This is a screenshot taken from an episode where Harvey has a case which involves him going to a prison, and this man gets angered by Harvey and punches him in the face. So this shows a physical action side of it, but instead of the conventional being masculine by hitting someone, he's showing masculine by getting hit. He doesn't react in a rash way. It shows that he has morals and he's above the other man. And this shows how he's the new masculine. He doesn't have to be physically strong, but more strong-willed and intellectual. It also humanizes Harvey a bit. For most of the series, he's almost on a throne above everybody else with his arrogant